But we all have these.
Nice.
And it's a question that I think is a bit of a throwback type question.
Okay.
It may help you jog the memory of the old little Nicholas. What is one thing you so confidently believed in as a kid that you still kind of believe now as an adult?
Whoa, that's such a good one.
Whoa, that's thank you.
It's such a good one. I'm trying to think because the reason why I think it's such a good one is because I think that so much of our current beliefs are based on what we learned as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And only now, sometimes through like debunking of those things, we realize, oh my God, the only reason I believe that is because someone told me that when I was a child.
Yeah,
or
100%.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that is a really, really good one.
Yeah.
Someone told me that
It was pretty.
then I was
It was a pretty little
a
flower.
pretty boy.
Yeah.
That's such a good one.
One thing that you just like, you know, your parents told you or a family member that you were just like, Jesus, like, that's true. And you still haven't, like, you know a bit better now, but you still are like,
maybe I'm not sure. I
like,
don't
you know how like random ones, like I'll give you just to jog your mind.
Yeah.
But like when you would fold your eyelids backwards and they'll say,
like,
if wind
stay
comes
like
to your heart, it's stay like that.
It's
Some
gonna
random
stay
like that.
Were you one of those kids who used to flip their eye?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. It was really scary. Those
Yeah.
kids. I don't know.
Or like the backlight one in the car. Oh, if you put on the backlight, we're gonna crash. You're gonna kill the whole family.
Everyone,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
What's
you?
wrong with you? Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Getting into the water after you've eaten.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then I started applying like scientific understanding to it. I was like, oh, maybe as I got older, I was
that's
like,
a good one.
you got in like maybe the weight or
Is that not true?
pressure food in your stomach is the pressure of the water
Yeah,
is going to
pressure is getting worse.
That is actually true. My brother, when we were a kid, we went to warm baths for his birthday. Varwa.
Bella.
Bella.
Yeah.
He ate shit tons of his cake.
Yes.
Proceeded to swim in the pool. Vomited fucking everywhere.
No way.
You should have seen everyone
So it's a
disappear.
real
out of the
I think
fucking pool.
that one's a real thing.
Oh my
That's
word.
not made up.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
Little
in fact,
chunks
that
of
one.
cake just floating.
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're getting too graphic. Shut up.
But another one is that I'm always in danger.
Okay, that's called skits.
I
What do you mean you're
I
always
think
in
it's
danger?
just PTSD of growing up in South Africa.
Aha.
But there's so many times where I'm like, I'll be on a beach in like Greece and I couldn't be safer, but I'm like, I'll do it. I think what's going on?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that just might be
That's-
streetwise
yeah, you
growing
need
up
a
to
therapist for that
Johannesburg.
one.
I
That's
probably
a-
do need
that's a
therapy for that
therapy
one.
for that.
What's your one? Do you have one in particular?
My one would probably be, and I still kind of believe this day, that there is more nutrients in the crust of the bread.
Yeah.
I'm not
okay.
fully convinced that there isn't.
Yeah.
So your parents would be like, no, don't cut off the crust, eat the crust because it's more nutrient dense.
But was it not more of a thing, don't waste your food?
I think that's what it was. I think that's where it started
Yeah.
from. The old, what they call it, the old wives' tale.
Sure.
I think that's where it started from. Like, oh, food waste, kids don't like it. Okay, no, let's make up a story to
Yes.
make them eat it.
Absolutely.
But then now, I still kind of believe it's a more dense piece of the bread that has therefore more nutrients.
Do you know what's one that I don't believe vehemently now that I used to believe?
Never heard anyone pronounce vehemently like that.
Vehemently? How did I say it?
What?
English is my first language.
Bro,
man.
and it's rocking you. Yeah, and it's rocking you, my boy. This English has hands.
How do you say vehemently?
It's vehemently.
Vehemently?
Yeah.
No. I don't know if that checks
To
out.
be fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think most
okay.
people are with me on this one.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there's probably Nick
Guys,
and Nick on that
please
one.
comment on this and
Comment
tell us
on
how
this.
you... Do you spell it V-E-E
No,
or V-E? Is that how you pronounce it?
No, you spell it one way.
No, I know. But how do you pronounce it? Oh, English is rocking me again.
English. Bro.
But the one that I used to believe vehemently
Okay.
is that breakfast was the most important meal of the day.
Ah.
And it actually leads into our topic today, is that I don't do breakfast anymore. I skip that. I do lunch
Yeah.
and dinner, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Fair enough. Let's get into this
Yeah.
topic.
Okay, nice.
And let's figure this out. Let's break this down and let's get these people what they want. You ready?
Amazing.
Let's go.
Bam.
Boom.
Mind your goddamn business.
Okay. Topic of today, which I think has been a widely requested topic, funny enough.
Yeah.
A couple of people have been like, guys, what else should I be doing outside of running a startup or developing an idea for a startup? What are the core tenets that make me a better entrepreneur outside of actually being an entrepreneur? We get that question tons. I know a lot of my friends have come up and asked me that question. I know a couple of your friends have come up and asked you that question. So we thought we'll do an episode dedicated to just that. And why we think it's such an incredible or rather important point to discuss is because there are so many facets of what make someone good at any one thing. And if you forget, it's like a lever. If you forget the one, you punish the other.
For sure.
So everything has to work in tandem continuously. So, for example, if you are a world-class athlete, and one wing of you being a world-class athlete is your diet. If that is poor, that's not considered and that's not well laid out, it's going to impact the thing you are focused on, which is being a world-class athlete. So it all plays a massive role. So we think it's such a key important thing to discuss.
And this Usain Bolt too, before they break the record, he eats chicken wings.
But you know what he did?
Yeah, he did.
He's a freak though.
But he's a freak.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's such a brilliant analogy because if you are, let's say you're working your job and you're working your job and then you're staying up until 5 o'clock in the morning coding like the guy from Coinbase.
Yeah.
But you don't spend any time exercising. You don't spend any time.
Oh, you cooked.
You're focusing on your mental health. You cooked. It's never going to work.
Yeah.
You're burning the candle at both ends.
No.
And that's why it's so important to got English that time. Wow. 1 point Nick. Nice. It's really important to focus on a lot of things in your life, and it's such a good quote from our bless you.
Oh,
bless you.
Woo!
That's hay fever's
It's
rocking me
it's
too.
Rocking me in London,
in the UK. It's the worst. One of our best mates, Kanye. What his mother said.
He's not my best mate.
Hey?
He's your. I'm kidding.
You don't believe in best mates?
I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't.
You think
I think it's a silly concept.
It's a childish concept.
Yeah.
Why is that? You've got like different Pokemon. You've got different friends for different things.
Literally, that's spot on. That's literally why I don't believe in best friend.
No way.
There's a friend you have when you're sad. There's a friend you have when you're happy. There's a friend you have when you need advice.
Yes.
Friends have different purposes. And
which friend am I?
You're the friend when I want to start a podcast.
Oh, nice.
I go to this guy. Yeah. Well, there we go.
You're
doing the job.
So good. Such a great answer. But what she said was, and that I feel like this quote's going to rock me again.
Okay.
But she said, if you can't dedicate an hour a day to yourself and to your health, you are negating your own longevity.
Wow.
So it's like...
Who said that?
That's what Mazanelli said. That's Kanye's mom said.
Oh, Kanye's mom. Oh,
yeah.
she said that.
It's a phenomenal quote, and it changed the way I look at things. Like, I can work, my main job. I can work doing casual stuff until whatever hours. But if I'm not exercising, if I'm not focusing on my diet, I'm not doing everything outside of doing those things, then I'm burning the candle both ends. I'm gonna have a short life.
And to be fair, you are actually quite rigorous about doing those things.
Yeah. So are you.
Yeah, I mean, you're consistent. We have this group for context that a couple of our friends are in where we have to send photos of like our gym schedule that day and what we did and what we ate.
But hang on, sorry, just to go in, I think that's such a brilliant point, and I feel like people can really learn from this point.
Oh yeah, true.
So it's so good. So to make sure
accountability.
To have accountability amongst your friend group, you have the gym group.
Yeah.
And every time you go there, you don't have to take a fucking selfie. Just take a photo of the weight you're using and just say back day.
Yeah.
And everyone heart reacts or clap reacts.
It's really,
or
really great for accountability and support.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's so good.
Good
for
shout.
Sure.
But I think what would be cool is if you go through some of the things that you consider quite important external to actually run day-to-day business.
Yes.
We have a little bit of a powwow, and I kind of weigh in, you weigh in,
yeah.
Just figure out or how we can help you guys figure out what to do and what to prioritize in terms of your day-to-days.
I'd like to hear yours as well. I think a big one for me, and I'm quite an anxious person in general, and I always kind of, I say struggle with anxiety. Like I get anxious. I think most people get anxious, and a big way to battle with that and to release stress and everything that comes with, building businesses as well as working and doing everything is just exercise, just making sure you exercise. Big. If you like, I always aim for 5-6 times a week. And sometimes you don't always do that. Sometimes you're busy, but you aim for 5, you'll get to 4, or minimum 3. Yeah. And I think that's been such a big part of my life, making sure I'm doing weights for like 30 minutes and then making sure that I'm running at least 3 kilometers, and
ooh.
just like making
Nice.
sure that there's always that movement, that blood movement, making sure I'm
Yeah.
moving. I feel like that's so important.
I think
But
you're so right. I
but
think
you so into that as well.
Yeah, I think that's so right. I think the mental, like fortification that you do when you gym gets you ready for anything. And funny enough, the thing about gym is if you do it right and you try to go as hard as you possibly can, obviously within bounds of reason, it preps you for hard things. So I don't know who said this quote. I think it was Joe Rogan, but he said like, when I go to the gym, it's an opportunity for me to expand the bounds of what my mind and my body is capable of.
Wow.
Which then allows me to do that in the real life.
Okay.
Because once you engage hard things on a consistent basis, every morning at 6 a.m., for example, if your gym regimen starts at 6 a.m., you do hard things, well, then you get used to and accustomed to doing hard things. So when things that are hard come at you during the day, well, you're used to doing hard things because that's what your body does.
Do you think it's about creating a, how do you say this, like a threshold for stress or for pain?
Yeah, it is actually.
Is that kind of what it
That's
is?
exactly what it is. The body needs some form of stress to the extent, well before it obviously kills you, but it needs some form of rigor and stress because that is actually what allows it to build the capabilities to deal with things that are hard. And that's where our ancestors come from, like the ability to run fast, all that contributes to our ability to sustain ourselves as we move on and progress and evolve.
I think it's a really good point. And also, I guess that if you got to the gym at 6 a.m. and you, I don't know, you did a bent over row for at like 100.
Are you trying to get bent over, boy? He want that bent over row.
Bent over row, bent over row.
Trying to get that bent over row.
I think to get them glutes, like it's
that
good.
glutes working.
That lower back, it's amazing. But if you've done that for like 70 kgs, then you get that difficult email later on that day. You're like, oh, I just did 70 kgs. Yeah, I'm good. I can deal with this.
I got bent
mentally.
in gym. I'm about to get bent now. Let's go.
Bent in business as well. So I think that's probably just for your confidence, like also I think that it's so
That's
good,
so true.
and it
That's
builds
so
that,
true.
I guess, is it testosterone? I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is, man.
It's like
Science.
some chemical. Not me, buddy.
You came to the wrong place, pal.
But I think that
That's a
level of
great one.
confidence you get from the gym is really, really good.
I think on that one, just talking about mine, one thing I found so helpful in my day to day in terms of being able to think strategically and grow my business is really the people I surround myself with.
That's such a good point.
No, I
Yourself.
don't know. I'm one man. But I sound the people I surround myself with. There's a famous saying, and everyone knows it. Your parents used to say to you all the time. And the quote goes, show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And that quote rings so true.
It's massive
when it comes to starting anything, because very often, and we've spoken about this to some extent on previous parts, but very often, what you feed in creates what you output. And if you're consistently around people that feed in negativity, laziness, self-doubt, well, you're not going to be able to master anything else because you're just not geared that way. However, if you're around people who see the world as a big place where big opportunities are willing to be taken, if you're willing to take the big risks, well, then your mind is going to adapt to that. Right. And that's why I always say this, people. And if that's one quote I have on my freaking tombstone, I want it to be exactly that. People is everything. If you underestimate the importance of people in any choosing partners, people you surround yourself with, people you date, people you marry, you're literally missing out on the biggest trick to life.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think in terms of what
you
were
can
saying,
agree with me more.
Hey?
Try agree with me more.
I try to agree with you more. I could not. But it's also set your level of expectation, right? So if let's say you stayed in the same town, like me and you, we stayed in Joburg, and every weekend we still went to that bar in Rosebank, Bulldogs, and we drank beer and watched rugby, and that was fine.
Yeah.
And
but there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No, that's also fine. But I'm saying if that's the only thing that you do, and that's all your mates do, and they don't exercise, and let's say they all say like we
Debbie Downers, drugs,
yeah, they're like, oh no, like if you're trying to do something and they go, man, it's a bad idea, you shouldn't do it, because they're trying to pull you back down like a crab in a bucket mentality. You're never gonna really meet your potential.
Agreed.
Whereas if you have smart friends like Evander who are doing amazing things, you think maybe I could also do that, you know, or I could try and achieve the same level of success, you know, or even just trying to get there. I think it's super important.
So true. And by the way, we don't want to be paternal about this. We're not trying to be like, we're your dad. We're telling you what's... No,
of course
this is generally the things that we've experienced and that helped us.
And not to be condescending
Not
at all.
we're not trying to be condescending.
Sure.
Like, no one's daddy, like, we're just being like, yo, these things really helped us. Maybe they could help you.
Yes.
Try them out.
For sure.
So
another one to your point, sorry, is who said this? Never be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
You never want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to low-key be the dumbest person.
Yeah.
So you're always learning.
Not the
dumbest
maybe
person.
the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you want to be learning from the people around you.
Yeah, because if you're always the dumbest person, eventually people don't want to be in the room with you.
Like, that Nick guy provided not a value at all.
Like,
all this guy does is bring up Dragon Ball Z references. And it's kind of tiring, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you don't want to, it's kind of circular if you are always the dumbest person. Eventually people stop wanting to be the smartest person in the room that you're in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point. You want to surround yourself with people who are capable, who bolster you up. Yeah. Which again is probably more important than even being capable. Just people who bolster you up, make you feel good about yourself, make you love what you're doing, make you love life, make you feel like life is big.
And do you think there are tangible things you can do? So let's say you're a young entrepreneur in London or wherever, and you want to be around other entrepreneurs, other people like you who have similar vibes, similar aspirations. What is anything tangible that you would suggest to those people in terms of what they should be doing?
Yeah, you know what? There's a bunch of, and you can Google this. There's a bunch of clubs you can join, like literal founders clubs, and there's one called Founders Vine that does some great work with like young entrepreneurs.
One club really, really great as well. They do something similar.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there we go. There's one called Arts of Mondays. Really cool. They figured out this idea that people who often start businesses are also very, like you said, physically inclined. They want to do physical things, sports, running. So what they did is they built a community where you meet founders, but the only way you can meet is by forming a group related to a sports activity.
That's such a good idea.
So you all come to, they group you guys, and then they go, cool, you guys are going to go play tennis this week. And you guys are going to do rock climbing this week. And you guys are going to go for a run. So they give you your activity.
That's such a good idea.
You do that with random people that you never met before. And it's the first day of every month, called Art of Mondays.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Because then you get there. It's also not like an awkward thing like, hey, what does your business do? Oh,
yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, that was such a great game.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, like what is...
Yeah. So little clubs like that really, really help, are the practical ways you can like figure out. I'm sure there's tons others, right? So worth time. I think the other thing, and I don't know what you feel about this, but like tapping into the macroeconomics of the world and understanding that, I think is super, super helpful. At least it's helped me.
I couldn't agree more.
So in society, no man is an island, right? And the different shifts and the geopolitical sphere allow you to understand where the world is going, and therefore allow you to pivot where your business needs to pivot. So if you, for example, making t-shirts right now, right? And you ship the t-shirts in from, somewhere in Asia. Now, if you're someone who is like head in the sand, you just focus on the things that are immediately in front of you. You don't tap into like understanding global economics. You don't tap into podcasts. You don't tap into news. You don't tap into any kind of current affairs information hub. You're not going to understand what's at play. So, for example, tariffs come in, and it's a new thing that's
super hot topic. Yeah,
super hot topic. But it's more important to the people who are actually developing things that are so inextricably linked to tariffs, which is most things. So, if your shirts are coming in and you're like, oh, I'm trying to make this shirt business flourish, but you're not understanding that like tariffs could potentially impact you.
Shipping them in from Vietnam,
someone else,
and now you're trying to bring them into the States.
Now
but there's a tariff that's
30%
slapped
more.
on there. Yeah, absolutely.
You're cooked.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
you need to be tapped in continuously to what's being at play on the macro scale, because it helps you whittle down to the things that are impacting you on your day to day. And if you can't, like, it's you have to be a bit of a weather vine when it comes to those types of things. Like, you have to know, where's the wind going and how do I change my business to ensure that I'm always in line? What was I doing there? Have you seen that Missy Elliott song? Video?
Yes, yeah.
But you got to be tapped in.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know, what do you tap into? Do you tap into like shows, podcasts, things you listen to?
I'm such a geopolitics nerd.
Oh yeah,
I love geopolitics. So like, I love what's happening with BRICS. What's America doing now? What is the situation of elections in Burkina Faso? Oh. Like, I love that. There are no elections. Newsflash. But it's
oh gosh, democracy has not come to the shores of Burkina Faso just yet.
No, I don't want to shit on Burkina
Faso.
They're doing really interesting things at the moment. I think it's so interesting to know what's going on all the time, but I also kind of disagree, because I feel like there's that noise that's always going on could distract you from what's kind of in front of you.
You're not wrong.
You know, like, I feel like the constant like news dump from what Donald Trump's doing now could, create an unnecessary white noise that you don't really need.
You're not wrong. I would say though, you can tune things out that are irrelevant. So you don't have to take everything in.
Yeah.
But what I would say is the things that matter to you. So for example, I listen a lot every morning. I listen to Financial Times podcast. They do basically like a 10-minute breakdown of what happened the day before.
That's super helpful.
It's so helpful. You start your day being like, oh, what happened the day before? And it's literally 10 minutes. I walk to the tube, play that, I'm good.
Yeah.
Nothing big, nothing major, but gives me a quick lowdown. Things like little podcasts here and there. The All In podcast helps me, gives a
All In You Back, which is something that I need to get on, actually.
All the way.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a behind the view look of what is happening on a startup and business scale.
Yes.
In the US, which is super helpful.
I like TLDR. TLDR. Yeah. Really, really good in terms of understanding what's going on in the world, tariffs, new government policy, how's Labour doing. They give you like 10 minutes on what's going on and provide a lot of detail in a very, very small amount of time, which I also appreciate. I think that's really, really good.
But I think you still make a good point though. Like, don't take everything in.
Yes.
Because you'll be overwhelmed and you'll literally go into your little bed, go into the fetal
position. The
and
world's falling apart.
Yeah, literally.
Oh my God.
Dread. Yeah. So take some of it in, cut out what you don't need, and keep it moving.
But I think it's a really good point to also just understand, I think investing is really, really big. I think kind of being on top of investing and understanding what's going on in the markets, as you previously said, like the only reason I know anything about investing is because I worked at an investment platform for like 4 years, and I don't think I would have invested previously, and I don't think I would know the basics of investing. This is not investing advice, by the way. We are not.
Come to me, I'll give you advice. I'm kidding.
Just from a compliance perspective, it's not investment. But like, unless I had gone there and they had drummed into me, hey guys, if you don't really know when it comes to investing, don't invest in a particular company. Invest in an ETF. Invest in the S&P 500. Invest in big China technology. Think like the stock market is built to grow. That's the whole idea of it, is that it's built to grow over time. Yeah. And
it might not though.
It might not, but
it might not.
If in 50 years' time you haven't made, an increase on your money, most likely the world is you've got way bigger problems. Like the world is falling apart.
Yeah. But I think that you make an important point about the stock market. So
yes,
maybe going back to first principles. How was the stock market developed? So the stock market effectively came from the Dutch, right? They developed the first stock market, the Dutch Stock Exchange. What they had is this, right? They had what was referred to as the Dutch East India Company.
Yes.
And the Dutch East India Company was essentially a shipping company, a logistics company.
Probably one of the most influential companies in existence. Yeah.
And they would ship goods throughout, the coast, South Africa, go to India, etc. And what would often happen with this company is that ship voyages were so treacherous and potentially so dangerous. It required a lot of funding. You need to get, sailors, shipmen, build the boats. It was very, very expensive. So they figured, how do we get more funds? How do you raise funds to go on these voyages without having to dole out cash that we don't have yet because we haven't actually sold our goods?
Sure.
So the idea was we would go and sell shares in our ship voyage, and based off what we sold when we sold and went to the port and sold the goods, we would give people returns of that. So they formalized the market that you could buy stocks in ships that were going on a voyage.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
That's so
So that was the
interesting.
first stock market ever created, was in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And that obviously over time developed into what you know now, where it's effectively the same thing. The principle
Yes,
hasn't gone. Like
sure.
you're giving businesses money to develop themselves. Hopefully they pull out a dividend, which is essentially the profit that a company generates over a period of time, and pays it back to its shareholders, the people who invested in it when it didn't have the money. It's the same mechanism. So it's there to grow, and it's a fundamental part of what we spoke about earlier is you want to stay tapped into these things. Investing gives you a skin in the game. Because then it kind of forces you to know what's happening macroeconomically.
Absolutely.
Because you are invested, therefore you should probably stay aligned with what Trump is doing and what's happening in China, what's happening in the US.
Green go up, red go down.
Yeah,
you kind of like, oh look, it's in the green. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
you wanna stay in tune. So I think investing is such a key thing, and we should probably do an episode on that just on its own.
No, absolutely, yeah.
I think there's just so much information and just value in just being able to understand investing generally.
For sure.
But I would say if I had to give my other big ticket item that I think has helped me greatly.
Are you singing again?
No, that was my Oprah. That was not singing. That was my Oprah.
Oh, that was Oprah.
Greatly,
Okay, nice.
you get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
Actually, a great impression. Yeah. I feel it. Yeah.
I grew up on Oprah. Love her.
Yes.
So expanding my horizons. And what do I mean by that? Well,
What do you mean by that?
I will tell you.
Yeah, nice.
Well, if you stay in a room for a majority of your life, do you think you're likely to know more or less?
I would let me ponder that question. I think I might know less in that scenario.
So life is like that.
Sure.
If you stay in one place and you confine yourself to a separate place that is away from everything else, you're likely to know far less than someone who went outside of those walls.
Yes.
So you should always challenge yourself to step outside of your comfort zone. What does that mean? If you can go to different environments, go to different cultures, experience and interact with different people from different backgrounds, you're often more likely to tap into the needs and wants of people that are not like you.
Sure.
Because life is like a 360 bulb.
Yes.
And if you stay confined, you limit yourself to 90 degrees or 180
Absolutely.
degrees, depending on how exposed you are. But as soon as you step out, you have a 360 view of what people think and how they view life. And once you have a 360 degree view, you can make such educated decisions on the things you want to invest in from a business perspective.
You can also understand different cultures, how different things work. You can learn from different people that you wouldn't have otherwise. I think it's such a great point. Also, just understanding how other people live and how they thrive, and how they do things. Like I think I was very lucky when I was still in South Africa. I had a job that would take me to all corners of the country.
You traveled, eh?
I traveled not just like the world, like within South Africa, you know. I went to Potchefstroom, I went to Alice, I went to East London, I went to Buffalo City, I went to
staycations.
I went to places that I wouldn't have gone otherwise.
That's such a good point.
And it was like, I think that's maybe why I started Kesho. Because like I went to the Eastern Cape and I was
saw things.
I was like, these people are so amazing and incredible, and like it's so fantastic working with people in the area. And I was like, oh, this is an awesome place. This is a place that I want to work with these guys, you know.
That's such a
and I
point.
think that was so massive.
Yeah.
So couldn't agree with you more.
To double tap on that, it's more the fact that it's not even international travels. You don't have to bloody go to India or China or like see the world. It literally could just be on your back door, like going to a province that you've never been to before, or a state or an area that you just never been to before, and speaking to the people, interacting, getting messy. And if you're an introvert, take a friend that's an extrovert.
Yeah.
Someone that can help you open up conversation, engage people. Like find ways to get around the things that block yourself.
But also when you want to learn something, and it's actually a point I want to bring up as well, it's learning for fun, but when learning, it's always better to ask someone. Like you can Google.
What do you mean by that, my friend?
What do I mean?
My knowledgeable friend.
My little knowledgeable friend, little knowledgeable demon.
Yeah.
It's asking someone if you ask an expert in something, they can tell you in 5 minutes what you'd learn in 5 hours online, Googling it and trying to work it out and trying to understand it. Because they get more relatable stories, they can work you out and they can tell you how you'll understand it better. So I think it's such an important thing to speak to experts and get out there and, pick up the phone, ask for a mentor. I think that's a big thing.
Mentor.
Something that I couldn't have, something that I'm so glad I did was find someone who was in a similar industry to me.
Who's yours?
And
you can say his name?
He's a great guy.
Can you say his name?
Mabina Siabe. He's phenomenal. He was actually the comms manager for the Democratic Alliance in South Africa.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And he works with him, Rise.
So he's the enemy.
Hey. Not having any political ideology.
I'm kidding.
But now he actually works with Rise Mzansi, which is also an up-and-coming party in South Africa. And he is a smart, knowledgeable person who's charismatic, who gave me time. He gave me so much time that he didn't need to.
So badly.
And such a phenomenal person that the reason I did my master's is because he was
Seriously?
like, this is and to be fair, you and Kanyiso as well gave me really good advice to do my master's as well. In fact, I mentioned you guys in my forward.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, you did actually. I remember you saying that.
Yeah. But so he when he told me, it's like, I think it's the right move, and I was like, absolutely. So then I did it. So I think finding a mentor.
Yo, mentor. You know what? That's my biggest struggle. I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna be vulnerable.
First time ever. I am my own mentor.
I cannot be mentored. I am the mentor. No, I would love a mentor, and I've been searching so far and wide for a mentor. Oh man, it's one of the things I would love to have.
Yeah.
Shout out to anyone there could looking to be have a mentee. I like long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
The smell of Tuscan wood.
I feel like your mentor, we've spoken about it before, but I feel like you need that Alexander Skarsgård type from Succession. You need to find someone who's doing that. That's your mentor.
I found an incredible guy one time at a meeting.
Yeah.
He was so cool and super this guy was so smart. You know, one of those people that's smart in the ways that like shock you.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like you can be speaking about a topic that you assume they have no idea about.
And they just like,
and they'll just be like, but like not in a way that's like, I know everything. The way that's kind of like, oh yeah, casual. He was like that.
Amazing.
And I was gonna ask him, but I was his client. Sorry, rather he was my client. I was working on a law firm.
So it was quite an awkward.
Dynamic. So I asked my senior. I was like, "Can I ask him to be my mentor?" He was like, "What the hell are you doing? He's a paying client. Don't talk to him." And I was like, "Oh, I'm a junior. I'm sorry."
That's all right.
But I've always wanted him to be my mentor. I wonder where he is.
You can reach out now.
I should reach out now.
Yeah,
let's call him right now.
let's get him on the phone. Hi. What are you doing?
How are you doing? Are you willing to mentor me?
But I think those are like really, really good points.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, anything else that you would mention? 2 minutes left of the pod. Any bullet points that you would
don't
put
say 2
out
minutes.
there?
Why are you giving it time? People don't need to know that, bro.
No. But I'm just saying, like, it's like if there's 2 minutes left in the pod, what would you say?
I would say I would double click on the point I made earlier around choosing my people. 60% of reasons that we've heard from surveys being conducted as to why people succeed is not to do with the school they went to, not to do with the parents they had, not to do where they lived. They said it was the partner they chose to be with.
Wow.
So the person they married was the difference between them being successful.
Oh, not their business partner.
Not their business partner.
Their romantic
partner. Their romantic partner. So the woman or the man they chose to marry was the greatest contributing factor as to why they were successful. How wild is that?
That's quite beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing in terms of the person you pick is also. But have you seen, who's that guy? He wears like a cap and like a vest, and he wears a shirt over like a loose shirt, and he only wears flip flops. But he's like a multi-millionaire, and you always see him on the Instagram reels. You know what I'm talking about? He's got a big beard, and he always wears a tape over his nose. People are listening, they know exactly
tape over his nose?
Yeah.
You gotta send me this.
Homozy. Mike Homozy, I think his name is.
Oh, yeah, true, I know.
He has the most beautiful reel where he's talking about his current wife.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome.
She's amazing. And before he had made it, when he was like dirt poor, he was like, listen, I think you should leave me. I think you should break up with me and leave me because I can't give you the life that I think you deserve. And she said,
nah, son, I'm sticking with this.
She said, I will sleep under a bridge with you.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful response. But now they're like multimillionaires. You know,
But
she made the right move.
She made the right move because that's what it
Absolutely.
is. If you choose the right partner, you take away 50% of your load.
Yeah,
If you choose the wrong one, you put on 50%.
interesting.
Huge decision. Choose the right partners. Choose the right partner. And it all comes down to what am I putting on my tombstone, Nicholas? Test.
People.
Hey, the boy knows me. The boy knows
I
me.
listen.
People. So
Yeah.
go out there, make the right friends, meet the right people, have the right conversations, fall in
Yeah.
love, figure it out, have a kid, have two, move to Dubai, move to the Bahamas,
Why not?
Why
Become a
not?
beach stacker. Then don't. And then,
sell t-shirts.
yeah. Just do it for a little while.
You know?
Do drugs. Don't do drugs.
Nah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't
Don't listen
do
to him. He's an idiot. But yeah, we've loved having you guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, comment down below if you have some tips as to what people can do to help them outside the business.
Like, subscribe. See you next week.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.